This is the Hot 7 Nightly News.
Good evening. It is Friday, 2nd May 2025. I am Daniela Edwin. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We are on Flow Channel 117, Kiss FM, the Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and the Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page. Not forgetting those of you using the Hot 7 plug and play antenna. Thank you so much for joining us. The quiet hillside community of Chopin Castries was rocked by tragedy on the evening of May 1st as a violent gun attack by masked assailants claimed 3 lives and left a 4th individual critically injured.
The tranquil community of Chopin Castries was plunged into mourning following a brazen and deadly assault by masked gunmen. The attack, which occurred around 5:40 p.m., left 4 individuals severely injured, 2 of whom were pronounced dead at the scene. Initial reports identified the deceased as Jesse Charles, 28, and Sylvester Bernard, 36, both residents of Chopin Castries. The 2 other victims were rushed to the nearby medical facility, where one later confirmed to be 45-year-old Imon Charles, also of Chopin, succumbed to his injuries. The 4th victim remains in critical condition. Residents paint a harrowing picture of the incident. One local who spoke under conditions of anatomy described scenes of chaos and disbelief as the gunfire shattered the evening calm.
When I bullets scattering outside, when I went outside, I see 2 bodies outside. The last time they had a shooting at the back, about 2 houses away, they had a shooting there. So I don't know, because they were family. So I don't know what's going on. I don't really know, because you see young fellas, you don't know where young fellas does be. So I myself always at my home. I called the ambulance. Then when the ambulance came, they came fast. Then when they checked them, they said, the people from the ambulance say 2 is dead already, so they went with 1. And then when we checked, they had 1 under the mango tree. He came up, he went to the ambulance by himself. So in that case, 3 is dead and 1 in I don't really, he's talking, so he's not in a critical situation that much.
A fellow resident provided his account of the incident, stating that owing to the serious nature of the situation, he was not permitted to re-enter his home.
I was on the road. I take my load and going up. When I try to reach home, I hear ambulance. So I have to give them space because they put a siren. When I give them space, then I come home. When I reach to enter my home, I see how many police squad park. They put a yellow ribbon. I park my vehicle outside and I tell them, it is my son get shot, I want to go inside to check about him. They told me, no, I cannot go inside. I said, but just for me to see, that's my home. They tell me, no, I cannot go inside. And then I stay outside until they finish. They take about 2 hours and 15 minutes. So when they finish, I come in home, pick up my wife, go to the hospital, go and see about my son. When I reach the hospital, they told me they're not holding any body there. Somebody go and collect the body already.
He also delivered a message directed at young people becoming entangled in violence and gang-related activity, urging them to reconsider their path.
Well, nobody want the children to die. But I don't know, because they say like, young fellas these days don't care about nothing. When they come into shot, they shot their people. And after they have about 2 weeks, all police, everything calm down, and you lose your family. This is what I can say about that.
The community have issued a heartfelt appeal to the young people, urging them to stay clear of criminal activity and violence. Citing the devastating impacts such involvement can have on families, residents emphasize that no one should have to endure the pain of losing a loved one to senseless act of crime. For Hot 7 TV News, Josiah Bissett reporting.
In a spirited Labor Day rally drawing hundreds of supporters, the United Workers' Party officially introduced Marcella Johnson as its candidate for the Cruiserley constituency, marking her political debut with the opening of a new constituency office.
At a well-attended rally held on May 1st, 2025, the United Workers' Party formally introduced Marcella Johnson as its candidate for the Groseley constituency with the opening of the new constituency office. Speaking to an enthusiastic crowd, Johnson described her candidacy as the beginning of a new chapter for the community, declaring that it all starts with what she called a simple truth.
A movement that reaches beyond politics as usual. One that rises from the streets of Beauséjour to the hills of Monchy, from the shores of Rodney Bay to the heart of Grand Riviere. A movement that remembers where we have come from, listens to the people in the present, and dares to shape a future when no voice is left behind. This is our time to build, to believe, and to lead Groseley forward together. This office is for everyone. It is for you, for the grandmother raising her grandchildren.
Johnson underscored that she does not view herself as a political figure in the traditional sense, but rather as a candidate committed to listening intently and serving faithfully for the people of Groseley.
I am here to fight for you, for your needs, for your aspirations, and for the future we build, not for some, but for all of us together. And I make a solemn commitment. I will show up. I will stand with you. My voice represents your voice, the voice of the people. It's a voice that can never be bullied, a voice that can never be bought, a voice that cannot be silenced.
In a move aimed at fostering greater community engagement and advancing local development, Johnson announced that the opening of the new constituency office dedicated to serving the people of Groseley. Positioned as a central hub for progress, the office is intended to function as a vital resource for constituents, reinforcing Johnson's commitment to delivering meaningful change and addressing the needs of the community.
The road to progress and success should not be traveled through the paths of shortcuts. I want to say to the youth, in the words of Buju Banton, it's not an easy road. And many see the glamour and the glitter, so they think a better rose. Me say, who feels it knows? Let me hear you. Who feels it knows? It's about long nights, hard work, tough decisions, and the unshakable belief that where you start does not define how far you can go.
With expectations mounting, the United Workers' Party is steadily preparing its campaign, missionary in anticipation of the forthcoming general elections. For Hot 7 TV News, Josiah Bissett reporting.
In addressing concerns of minimum wage and non-compliance by employers, Labour Minister Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot has confirmed that a popular retail outlet that many had expressed concerns about has in fact done the needful and increased the pay of their staff.
There is one company here they were targeting, which was SNS.
Right.
And people said, how they not paying SNS workers minimum wage? And when we do our fact check, we went to SNS. We thought they would have had a challenge.
Right.
SNS upgraded all the employees to minimum wage level, and those who are above the minimum wage, they also upgraded them to maintain the gap.
That was Labour Minister Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot on the latest airing of Andrew Paul's Rev-Up, where she responded to a question on concerns of workers following the implementation of minimum wages. To her, the actions of this company translated to a relatively smooth implementation and a compliance on the part of employers. However, while she praises the minimum wages, the opposition is having their say on government statistics of a declining unemployment figure, which posits that 4,000 people have been dropped from the statistics altogether and to them is painting a false narrative of employment growth. By the account of Deputy Leader of the United Workers' Party, Dominic Fede, the minimum wage regime significantly impacted these figures as people are no longer living on their salaries but simply managing to survive.
They told us that the size of the workforce actually shrunk. They told us that more and more people have given up looking because under the Philip J. Perry administration, the most difficult thing to do is to find a job in Saint Lucia. And when you do find a job, like most of you have, you realize that it makes no sense to work because very often you are working for bus fare and you are working to buy lunch. And by the time you work for minimum wage, which is $1,100, yeah? You work for minimum wage. You travel from Canaries or Soufrière to come to Castries. In this case of Soufrière, it's $90 every single week for bus. Then on a monthly basis, you are paying $360. Another $400 for bus. Then another $400, for meals. How is it that you're gonna pay your rent? How is it you're gonna pay your light bill? How is it you're gonna pay your courts bill? How is it you're gonna pay Lucilec and Flow and Wasco and all of those bills on the rest of the money that you have left?
During the minimum wage process, stakeholders, including the opposition, were invited to make objections which could have led to amendments. However, the wages were finalized and implemented without much pushback. Furthermore, Dr. Albert Poyot explained that the final figures for both minimum and livable wages were generated using informed calculations and assessments which are aligned with international labor standards and no political influence.
The minimum wage, we established a commission to look into that. We work with them. They had representatives from all key stakeholders, NIC, the Statistics Department, and other areas that help the committee come up.
Right.
And government say there's no government interference in that. We are not deciding minimum wage. Let that independent committee. They use the ILO formula and everything else.
Right.
And they came up with a proposal to cabinet. We looked at it. We allowed the employers, the workers, the unions to give feedback because we did not want to rush into it for people to get upset. And they came up with $1,131 as the minimum wage. And they have a formula they use to determine what the minimum wage of the country should be and what should be the living wage.
Right.
Interestingly, the committee reported that when they came up, they found that two of them are the same. They coincided.
The Labour Minister was also pleased to report that contrary to the belief that the Wages Commission would receive an influx of complaints about the minimum livable wages, only a few had been received. The minimum wage in Saint Lucia is now $6.52 per hour and was officially implemented on October 1st, 2024. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Jasmine Duncan.
Coming up next, the government's gas subsidy reduction by 50 cents is not enough for the opposition. And opening of Jazz records major success with largest crowd of over 10,000. The details to these stories and much more when we come back.